Tom, question from Facebook. Here's one from a fellow called Bill Lux. Assuming that we don't get our fiscal house in order in time to avert a catastrophe, what happens? What shape does the catastrophe take?
Well, a lot depends on what they do to try to correct things. If they go to the route of saying that we'll just raise the taxes on the higher income brackets, that overlooks the fact that people in higher income brackets can put their money in tax-exempt bonds. They can send the money overseas. The corporations can open new branches in other countries where the corporate tax rate is not as high, and so we will simply denude ourselves of jobs.
And what happens? Is there a loss of confidence in the dollar? Do things slide? Does there a crisis sort of overnight or over a period of a week when the stock market drops, bonds collapse, or is it a slow settling toward deterioration?
I lean to a slow settling toward deterioration.
All right. Question from Facebook. I'm going to have trouble pronouncing this name, but I'll give it a stab. Akiva Zeke Malamet. Dr. Sowell, why has there been a collapse of personal responsibility in American society, especially with regard to economic decisions?
Because irresponsibility has been subsidized. When you subsidize agriculture, you get agricultural surpluses. When you subsidize irresponsibility, you get a surplus of irresponsibility.
Why the subsidy? Why has the country chosen?
Because there's votes to be made by subsidizing people who've made wrong decisions.
Manny Gill, Dr. Sowell, my question is related to the job market. Why are private sector jobs more valuable to the economy than public sector jobs, if indeed they are?
Well, private sector jobs will be created only insofar as the cost of the job is exceeded by the value of what the person produces. Government jobs will be created as long as the politicians can get votes by giving people jobs.
Well, as an analytical matter, how do we account for the value that, say, the Pentagon creates in keeping the country more or less safe? How do we account for the value that the Highway Trust Fund creates in keeping up the interstate commerce, the interstate highway system?
Oh, I'm not saying that everything the government does is useless. It's just that a lot of it is, and some of it is counterproductive.
Ben Labadi, what does Dr. Sowell make of the argument by many on the left that higher taxes aren't bad for the economy, as evidenced by Bill Clinton's presidential terms when he raised taxes, yet we still live through a flourishing period?
Well, taxes alone don't do it. One of the things that happened during his term was that you balanced the budget. Not that he balanced the budget, but that the House of Representatives balanced the budgets. And they're the only people, incidentally, who can balance the budget, since all spending bills have to originate in the House of Representatives. So the fact that the press chooses to attribute surpluses and deficits to presidents doesn't mean anything when presidents don't start spending bills.
Right. Final question came over Facebook from Barrett Burant, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'll quote this question word for word. Thomas Sowell, when did you first realize you were the most awesome man on earth? I think we have a fan here, Tom.
When I was about 4 years old. I've lost that confidence with the passing years.
Tom Sowell, thank you very much.
Thank you.